Good morning. Well, it's Monday morning. This is actually Labor Day, I guess. Don't pay much attention to those holidays anymore. But we had such a hot summer, weeks and weeks of temperatures in the 90s. I could not get out, and then when it would clear, when it was cool enough, it was too smoky, and then when the smoke would clear up, it was too hot. So I had a really hard time getting out to do much of anything other than moving hoses to keep things alive. But anyway, over here at the little house and by the pond, the raccoons have been very busy in here lately and keep rearranging everything. They love to come and pull all the watercress out of the waterfall and drop it down into the pond and knock rocks in, and they've just been maniacs. So almost every day is kind of coming over and cleaning up and organizing. But anyway, so here's the pond. Of course, all the daylilies are done, and I'm in the process of cutting them back in different parts of the yard. And we finally figured out what kind of grape that is. It is the Niagara grape, which is the green grape with seeds in it that grows over the patio. And that was the most likely to grow there because the other grapes are mostly seedless. So I'm not sure what I'm doing with him, but anyway, that's what that is. And the lovage, that's that tall stuff over there, and I've already cut it back once. But anyway, here's a pan around the little yard. Pear tree and the birch and the butterfly bush is just starting to get blooming. It's very tall this year, and I cut that back every year. I cut it back in the fall because I don't want the snow to break it if we get any real measurable snow. And then I usually kind of shape it and trim it in the spring. But anyway, that's getting blooms on it, so the butterflies are going to start enjoying that, and the bees pretty soon. Been cutting the daylilies back behind the wooden privacy screen there, behind the pond, and I'm not all done, but now we have cattails, and so they're doing their thing. And I'll walk around here, and sorry about the difference in the light. That kind of confuses everything. But I'll walk over and show you what I've been doing. So I've been cutting the daylilies back here, and I just mulch them right back down. And by spring, it's all mulched into soil again. And back over there under the butterfly bush, the raccoons have been kind of using that to get into this end of the pond. There's actually a big root mass of marsh marigolds, and they like to stand on that and mess around in the pond. But very, very much raccoon mischief around here. And the tall phlox is doing really well, blooming away. Very happy. And it's really about time to take all this old lavender down, except that there are still some blooms in here, and I am not going to deprive the pollinators of that. The little skippers and honeybees really like it, and so I'll wait till the very last moment to really take care of that. Anyway, let's see, where should I go next? Maybe I'll go through the little house and out into the secret garden. Puppy, I don't like you on the deck. You want to come in? Nope. Phantom and Puppy aren't the best of friends. Anyway, so walking through the little house to go out to the secret garden. Well, hi, Phantom. There's Phantom in her crow's nest. Hi, Phantom. Yeah. Hi, honey. And out into the secret garden. I've been really busy. Oh, birds. Cutting stuff back in here. The daylilies are all cut back now, and we've got cool mushrooms coming up everywhere. And of course the wall of blackberries, which are really cool. And cut back the irises over here, and I've taken up a lot of the lemon balm this year because it just takes over. So just walk through here, and the grapes are being decimated by the birds this year. We have never had this happen on this level. We always have birds, and we always have so many grapes. I don't care. I still am not going to do anything to chase them away. They have a right to them too. But it is incredible how many they've eaten, and they're still here. The birds, I mean. We've got, like grapes in here. Underneath here, there's quite a few still. But the birds will soon find them, and they will be gone. So I come through and munch any of these little ones that are turning pink in here. Those are really good, so I usually just come pull those right off and mow them. But I'm back behind the waterfall. I've taken a lot of stuff down over here as well. And this is that Niagara grape that's in here, the lovage. And a chicken pen with nobody in it yet. Honeycomb is hanging out with Dandelion in the house. And blackberries hanging, literally. Need to finish picking some of these and get them frozen. I make jam in the winter time now because it's usually too hot for me in the kitchen to be canning. And the other thing is we have ants in the summertime, and that's a problem. So I find that I can freeze a lot of the fruit and can it in the wintertime when I don't have a big ant problem and it's cooler, and I can actually use that to also help heat the house. This is pretty overgrown and wild and woolly in here. I've started in a spot or two cutting stuff back. Some of it I'm going to leave so the birds have things for this their migration through this fall and winter. But all of the money plants or honesty plants that are still standing, they've all gone to seed. A lot of them I've taken down and scattered the seeds. And some crazy blackberries that need a little trimming. Looking for some space. The filberts are looking really great. Some of them are starting to fall down. This is a beaked filbert, and it's not doing anything yet still. But these guys have got filberts, and they're making their little catkins for next year. It's crazy that they do that this time of year, and they make it all through the winter here to pollinate the flowers in the spring. But so they're busy doing that. Something I changed out here underneath the picnic table out here. It gets very naked, well, any place that there's foot traffic, but it gets really naked because the water doesn't get under here as easily, and it's all dead and dry, and from our feet being under here, it doesn't help. So I decided to plant violets under here because they'll take the foot pressure, and that can fill in, and then there's something green in here, and that keeps the soil healthy, and any little creatures that live in the soil and above the soil will be happy in there too. So that was a new small project. I did go ahead and take out a lot of the rocks that were here that were once the path. This is no longer a path. I left rocks in here as a border and to step on to get in here because that's still pretty important. You gotta have a place to place feet to get in here. So I left that, and I also planted some of the camas lilies that I unearthed earlier are in here. There are more in the fairy woods. I've added some in other beds if I could get to them, but just panning around here. I'll walk over this way first and then out to the fairy woods. And in my barrels, my tomatoes are doing great. Nice big ones, and one that wasn't doing so great, I potted him up. I'm going to try wintering him over at the little house, see if we can do that because the sunroom is obviously not finished. But I have a tomato in a pot here. He was supposed to stay closer to the edge for more sun, but he had to get moved out of the way so that Tom could work on framing in the windows. And this window is in its permanent home at this point, and there's a twin window that'll go here. It's about ready to go in, and the glass is being cut for in those spaces there. That tiny little space, we're not going to do glass. Tom's going to fill that in with wood. We think it's too difficult to do that. And then this will all be glass There's this window here, but there will be glass here, and then a sliding glass door here, right here at the edge of there, over to here, and we already have this one in, and then this needs to be glassed, and it's just plastic at this point. But we got, okay, so wait, I have to talk about the windows first. So the windows that are going in here, this one here and the twin one, came from my friend Angie's house down by Old Fairview School. And these windows came out of her house when she had hers redone. And that house was built in the early 20s. So these are original windows from a early 1920s house. And so that's really cool that we could use them here. And you can't tell from here, but the glass is old enough that it's got that wavy look to it. So you can tell any of them we didn't have to replace that were still whole is the original glass. And it's cool, that wave to it. That's how you can really recognize a lot of antique glass from window panes and doors and stuff. Anyway, the other thing that we got that's really cool is gonna go probably over here, and it's an old wood cook stove, and it's real small. For anybody that's been in the little house and remembers the little gas stove that's over there, it isn't hooked up right now, but it's over there. It's a little narrower than that, and it has like 2 burners, but like burner plates that are the flat plate, and you use the tool to lift them up, you know, to stoke the fire underneath. Oh, it's so cool. Anyway, that came out of a house 3 houses down for us. The Detroits used to live there, and I think they are the original stoves, so they probably were there when it was built in the early 30s. And so we've got one of those, and we're going to put that in here. That can be used for warming up tea or just warming up the room, because all this glass, you know, no insulation, all this glass is going to be pretty chilly in here, and I don't want to use big energy to try to heat that. And so that's one of the things we're going to do in here. And then here's the rest of the patio still intact, and I've got my water barrel and my gray water system. The barbecue's out here, and I've got some storage for some used pavers and stuff that we picked up. But anyway, so there's still a piece of patio here, and we also made a little path. You have to duck under the California redbud limb, but there's a path to cut through here so that you can use the path to go down the side of the house or out here. But this time of year we don't use it because the tree has filberts all over it, and we don't want to knock any of them off. And this was full of honesty plants this year, this barrel. It was having a rest because it's had tomatoes in it for about 3 years, so it was having a break so that it can have tomatillos or something like that if I want next year. And then this is the Glenora grape, the main one, and as you can see, there's just tons of grapes in here. The birds don't seem to like these as much. We'll see if that holds true this year. They usually aren't really ready until another couple of weeks, and then usually we need to have a little bit of a cold snap to bring those sugars down into the grapes. But anyway, that's what's happening with the sunroom. And I'll walk over here, and this is a bed you saw absolutely packed full of flowers. Now it is not. Now they're mostly down for the season, and it'll be ready for next season. I did put some of the rocks that I took out of the path that were in front of the spruce and the filbert over here on the other side. I put those in here so that I can get through this bed easier. And I didn't make a solid path, but I made enough of a path that I can get through. And the strawberries are happily growing in here. It looks like there's plenty of violets, and there's some onions. This is the Greek oregano down here. There's all kinds of other stuff that'll be up for next year. Again, there's kale that's gone to seed, and just lots of stuff in here. Catnip, and the catnip I don't cut back because the finches love that when they're going through in the fall and in the spring. They come and get in the seeds. Here's some Swiss chard going to seed. Anyway, we have one whole peach up there somewhere. We have two really nice plums ripening on the tree. I didn't think we'd have anything after that really late freeze. That was really tough. Here's the back side of the sunroom. Tom brought it out pretty far. He's gonna put a shelf in here so that I can have plants and stuff on it. And the raspberries are all trimmed back for next year. So they're all ready to go. And let's see, take a little stroll out here. It's the back side of that other bed. Portal bed. In front of the garage. Looking back at the little house. Ooh, blinded by the sun. And here we go down the path. There's still some really tiny little asparagus guys in here, so I'm hopeful. Can't really see them too well because of the nasturtiums, but little guys. So I'm hoping they're doing their thing in here, and maybe we'll be back next year. And another barrel that I added, and it's got tomatoes in it, also onions that are planted. Those will be for next year. And I'm just looking out here. Between and out to the fairy woods. I just watered out here, so now I'm all soaking wet. So I'm not going to do too much of a tour out here. My little pawpaw trees, somebody's been munching them like crazy, but they still look really good. They've got nice growth on them. And the shock of the world for this summer, for me, is, ta-da, broccoli. We have broccoli. Isn't that crazy? I never knew broccoli would be so happy right here, but it is. It's very happy. This is the bed that was the water feature. And so the broccoli is doing good. And there's the forsythia. And there's some other little things planted here. And of course my chocolate mint is very happy in here. And the grape has been behaving, and I've been able to keep it out of the lines, but it decided it was going to have a mind of its own, so it went over here and it went way up in the crabapple. So I'm gonna have to work on pulling those down here in the next day or two. And yeah, but the robins and the starlings love these grapes, and they've got them pretty well picked over. This is the Niagara grape, and it's funny. And then there's this other kind of bird, I don't know what it is, and it's the one that goes over and eats the pink ones over in the secret garden. But anyway, just looking through the bed here, and a fern and hosta and a stilby that hasn't bloomed yet, and another little hosta, and of course comfrey everywhere. So anyway, and the little woodland thickets that are everywhere, you know, lots of cool native shrubs and happy plants. And that's what we want around here. It's not just my food forest. I've tried to do lots of permaculture practices here in the yard, layering, and everything's organic, and we compost and mulch and do all kinds of things. And but most of our planting, we benefit from any food that we get out of here, but this really is wildlife habitat for insects, for birds, even the raccoons, whoever comes to visit. I hope you've enjoyed this little tour for today. Hope you're having a great holiday weekend. Love you guys.